Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Mandy and I'm going to try to do a little bloom tonight. I haven't had the greatest blooms lately, but I can't get out of practice. So I'm going to use mostly new Prizm pour colors, but the other reason I wanted to do a bloom tonight is I just got this this new I'm not sorry, I got an Amber Alert. I just got this new Babyliss hair dryer, which I've always wanted to try because it has kind of a narrow mouth and has good, kind of a nice, good air pressure without it being overpowering, which seems to be the sweet spot for blooms. Doesn't make them easy, but it does make them easier. So I'm going to try on this 10-inch canvas. This is a Frederick's canvas, and I taped up the back. It's not like a convex or anything fancy, it's just a round canvas. So I'm going to try on that versus like a 12-inch surface and kind of see how it goes. So let me show you the colors I have in mind. It doesn't mean I'm going to use them all. I am going to use a black cell activator and a black pillow. Sorry if you can hear my dog walking. She is nagging me. So I'm going to use a black pillow and a black cell activator. I'm going to use some Prizm pour colors. I'm not sure what order yet. This is from the newest release, the Indian Summer and the Falling Leaves. Did I get that right? So this is, and there's a discount code below, of course, for Colourarte for anything on the website. So this is African Violet. Super pretty color. I'm not sure how well you can see that. So we're gonna do that. I thought that it would be fun to do some of these colors with this Fandango color. This color is Blue Velvet, another of my favorites. And these are mixed with my usual bloom mixture. I have a tutorial below on how I mix for blooms, what ingredients I use. So if that's helpful, it's always in the description box below. So that's Blue Velvet. This is Fandango. Beautiful. I just think that with those two colors would be a really nice mix. And I know for sure I'm going to use those three colors, and I'm going to use Matisse Southern Ocean Blue right underneath the cell activator. I love the way Matisse responds to a cell activator. There's some globbiness in my paint. Sorry about that. Had to catch it while it was visible, otherwise it hides. So this is Matisse. This is a transparent or semi-transparent paint, so it doesn't usually completely take over. Now the two colors I may add, I'm not sure yet, are Water Dragon, also a Prizm pour color. I love this color. Sometimes it looks more light blue on the camera. It's like a deep teal blue, but it's a very rich color. So I may use that, and I may use Frozen, which is also a Prizm pour color from the new set. Whoa, blurry. Sorry guys. Sometimes if I zoom in too much, it does that. So Frozen, hopefully that's the first time I did that. To me, the Fandango and the Frozen are kind of a nice light contrast because we're using dark pillow and a dark cell activator. So you kind of need some light contrast. Now I have some gloves in here because if for some reason I don't care for this hair dryer, I want to be able to take it back because it's certainly not cheap. So, but if it makes blowing blooms out easier, it's probably worth it. I will try my very hardest to put it in my Amazon shop, which I really need to update my Amazon shop. And I will also try to put it in the link below since we're kind of trying it out. I will say in advance, please don't judge the dryer by my result, because lots of people get great results with it. So sometimes I don't have great blooms all the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's been kind of a rough patch, but lots of people do use this dryer and have success. So don't judge the little dryer. Just know, for me, if I'm gonna use a really expensive one, I wanna make sure that it's gonna work. So it's probably gonna live here. It's probably not gonna go back, but I just wanna keep it covered up, because y'all, I have so many dryers that I have bought for painting. So there's at least three or four. So I have some gloves. I'm gonna move this little dryer out of the way because we all know I'm kind of messy. And we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna move it out of the way and plug it back in a second. Kind of nervous about getting it super dirty. The black pillow I'm using is Colourarte Black Onyx from Walmart. It's a satin, not semi-gloss. Some people like the semi-gloss. I never bought it because when I asked some people, they said it was slimy and sludgy, and that to me sounded like it would make it difficult to kind of keep the shape of the bloom. I know some people like the semi-gloss in the white, but black is a different story than white. Black paint is already a little bit more oily because it doesn't have any titanium white in it, and it's usually a deep base, so it's a different paint than the white is mixed with. So it's gonna always be different in texture. There's really no way to get a true black without it being different in texture. So just for what it's worth, just know that your black paint's always gonna be a little bit different. It's not always going to be thicker. It's not always going to be thinner either. Most of the time it's a tad thinner. But for me, not everyone shares my opinion, but for me, I really like the viscosity of this one. A black pillow sometimes is easier to blow blooms out on. So moves kind of nicely, holds its shape. I just stirred it up, so there's a couple bubbles, unfortunately. I know I have probably plenty of pillow paint on here. I'm really trying to get better at not putting too much on. For me, if I'm usually within an inch or so of the edge, so many bubbles in here. What the heck? Sorry. I'm sure some of them are gonna settle down, but it's because I just stirred it. And they're not popping when I poke at them. So I'm torn about which color to put first. I think these bubbles are gonna work against me, but bubbles, why? Why bubbles? Most of the time I get more bubbles with white paint. All right, I'm sorry in advance. Sometimes doing that will pop some of the ones that are like in the body of the paint. There's also a little piece of fuzz right here. Okay. I'm sure that's super annoying for you guys and for my husband in the other room. All right. It's been a really busy week, so I haven't really gotten to do a video yet. So I wanted to try to get one up. I usually try to do at least two. One first half of the week in most cases, and one on Saturday or Sunday, most of the time on Sunday. And then I try to squeeze in extra ones where I can, like bonuses. But the other day I wanted to try, I was watching Cindy Vanderveen and was really inspired by this cute swipe she did. And I wanted to try some similar colors with that. And that was what I planned to do. But then I got this dryer and I was like, well, I gotta try that out, you know? There's just one little booger bubble right here. And it hates me. All right. I think we're going to put down Water Dragon first. Torn between that and Frozen, but I feel like if we're going to use Frozen, we might need to use it toward the top. Well, that one bubble is just going to be a pain in the butt, so we're not going to spend all day on that. So, Water Dragon is a dark color, so it's not going to show a whole bunch if we put it on the bottom layer, but it would give us a really cool first puddle as kind of a background, you know, so that's always fun. So let's not think about it too much. I think that's half my battle. I have all these ideas in my head, and then when I go to paint, it's like I get ADD and I can't make a decision about which way to go first. You know? Does that happen to you guys? Especially if my brain's fried. Like, my brain is super fried from the day to day. And so I have some serious struggles sometimes with making a decision. I'm gonna get a lot of color on there. I was gonna swirl around some color on the background, but I decided not to today. That's always fun though. I don't think we're gonna have any negative space, but I spilled a little paint here, so just in case we do. Now I'm either gonna put the African Violet next or the Blue Velvet. I think the Blue Velvet right next to the Fandango will look really cool. So I think what we'll do is we'll drizzle. Let's do African Violet next. I just changed gears in the middle there. This color is so pretty. If you're a purple lover, let me tell you. And it has like a really cool blue shift. It has so much sparkle in it. It is so pretty. And I just got some in the negative space, so I guess we're just gonna live on the edge today. Which, you know, kind of do on a regular basis with the painting. I make a mess. When you look at this paint up close, it really looks like it has every color of the rainbow with the way it shifts. It's super cool. And if you aren't familiar with my channel, this is kind of the 3rd generation Prizm pour, and they are the best of the best so far. And Leslie's done an amazing job just continuing to improve upon them. You know, when you start to develop a paint line, when you've done pigments and stuff, that's a whole new ball game, you know what I mean? So there's always going to be ways that you can see improvement on that. And this, these are so versatile. You can pretty much use them in any kind of pour. And so they're an actual acrylic paint line. So super, super beautiful. They have a great body. The mica that's in them now stays suspended in the paint, so it's super easy to use. We'll throw in a little Frozen here. I'm not going to put a huge puddle of Frozen, just a little bit, since I brought them out. And now we're going to do Blue Velvet. I need to practice my Dutch pours. I actually have one to do, and I mixed up some of the base paint, and I feel like I'm like afraid to fail, so that I haven't actually done it yet. And I need to get it done. I need to practice them, or they're not gonna continue to get better, you know? It's crazy to me how some people who do the bloom technique, which is probably one of the most difficult, get nervous about doing kind of like other acrylic pouring techniques. The Dutch pour is not an easy technique, but I find it funny every time I do a collaboration or something and do something that I haven't done in a long time. I'm nervous, like I'm gonna completely fail, and sometimes I do. So I think that's what happens, is like the element of familiarity messes with you, and then you're like, maybe I'll just do something else. And then before you know it, it's been like months and you haven't done it. And I haven't had as much time to paint lately, so I kind of have to sometimes go for the win, because if not, I may not get a painting in, you know? I may have to scrape it and it may be terrible. I don't know why this thing hates me so much. Okay, Fandango up next. This color should look really cool up next to this blue. And with this, the Matisse as the color right underneath the cell activator, that should also blend really nicely with this color. Like, I don't want to put too much in the center, but like I don't want it to be ignored. No one wants to ignore Fandango. Okay. Just making sure that the autofocus isn't doing that annoying thing it does. Get a couple of these surface level bubbles. Okay. Sometimes I have to get like the super sharp part of these tweezers and come out these things from the side, or they're just like, you can't see me. I hope everyone is having a good week so far. I can't believe that it is October. It feels like September just started. And that's kind of scary, because that means we're about to approach the busy holiday season and all of that. So that's a little scary. I was looking at some memories on my phone the other day, and I told my husband we did our first like market like a year ago, and I don't know how we were doing all that. Working, doing other stuff. I mean, I was doing tumblers and stuff too, and painting, and doing some of those market things. Like, I love doing them, but just the thought of trying to do all of that right now makes me really tired. So maybe I just don't have the same grace to keep up that schedule right now. So I just kind of have to take it as it comes, you know? But those are super fun if you've never done one, to kind of engage with people as they shop. It's kind of neat to talk to people as they come by and ask about art. So that's fun. I do miss doing them sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna put on the cell activator. I'm kind of nervous. I'm gonna put on gloves first, because I need to bring this dryer over here. Y'all are probably thinking, perhaps you should wear gloves all the time. That's true. I just don't. Sometimes I can't feel the paint when I'm cleaning up the edges the same way, and I end up dragging like the loose part of the glove and messing up the edge of the painting. So sometimes it's just easier to me to not. It's probably not really good for your skin. Gloves are noisy. They're those vinyl gloves. They make this weird, very noisy noise. Okay. Black cell activator. I'm nervous. I'm nervous to do new things. I'm also nervous that this is going to be like way off-centered. And have this giant bubble right there. I swear bubbles have been my nemesis lately. Okay. Okay, guys. I'm brave. Cell activator is M-gram acrylic paint I get on Blick, mixed with Australian Floetrol, about 3 parts Australian Floetrol to 1 part paint. I really like this cell activator. I like it even better than Amsterdam Lamp Black. Mostly because I personally really like small cells. This is too much cell activator. The danger of too much cell activator, oops, is that it sometimes will get like this pool when it dries, and it can cause your cells to wiggle. There was something in my paint. Gross. Oh, forgot that I have gloves on for a reason. Okay. Okay, let's try. I'm gonna do low on cool setting. I already have paint on it, so it's probably staying here. So much for that cute idea. Okay. Hold on. I messed up that part right there, but let me see what I can get with my mouth. I'm gonna let it develop a little bit. Okay, so far I'm a fan. You saw how it gently moved the paint, but it had enough force to move the paint. It's so hard to find the right balance between gently moving the paint and not blowing down into the pillow. And so far, this did a pretty great job. It's not a perfect blowout. Like right here, I kind of missed altogether, so I'll probably embellish a little bit right there, and when I blow things out with my mouth, I tend to go right into the pillow paint. I am not yet good at that. I was gonna say I'm bad at it, but I don't want to say that. I want to say I'm not yet good at it. So one of my favorite things about this cell activator, these colors do look amazing together. One of my favorite things about this cell activator, let me see if I can zoom you in for a second, is you see all these little cells? Oops. I love those. I love how like the lacing in the cells, they range from larger to smaller, but I love like the tiny little ones that you get. I love those. So, I'm gonna zoom you back out a little bit. Well, I kind of want you to be able to see the center as it's developing. There's still a little bit too much cell activator right here. Ooh, I shouldn't have done that. All I'm trying to do is break the surface tension a little bit to see if any cells will come through and help break that up. This here is a little problematic, but I think I can embellish that. Plus, by the time we spin it, it's probably going to be all the way over here. So it's probably not too big of a deal. So far, I really think these are beautiful together. I love the pop of the Fandango, and because we used Southern Ocean Blue on top of it, it doesn't completely overpower it, but it kind of mutes it in a couple of areas where it looks really cool. So what I have is a turkey baster, and I'm just very gently blowing into some of these bigger pockets. Okay, let that alone for a second. I don't know if you can see that, but where I blew, tiny little cells came through, just tiny ones. You just have to be careful that you're not overdoing it, because you can introduce condensation through the moisture in your breath that can kind of mess with it a little bit. And sometimes I don't know when to stop working on something. So right now the center looks a lot better than it did. So let's zoom you back out and let's do whatever embellishing we're gonna do. I forget to turn my flash on? No, I didn't. I'm kind of spaced out today. All right, a couple things. We have some bubbles. So let's pop a couple that are pretty noticeable so they don't hopefully mess our design up. I know this is boring, guys, but it's part of the deal. So I don't want to not share with you guys kind of what goes into this. And it's harder to see them sometimes with this bright light. I feel like this ring light is a little too close. I also got a new tripod that I want to try out. It has a little bit of a better right on top of what you're doing view. I don't know if it's going to work or not, so I just had already wasted so much time to get ready to paint today, and so I didn't want to go through the mess of putting it together, and it would have been another hour most likely for me to mess with it. So I was like, not today. All right. That's not much better, but I wanted it to not look so crazy. So what I'm going to try to do first is deal with this. So where I don't like the composition is where I will usually start kind of doing some swirlies or something. I used to really obsess about, okay, this is not a good bloom because I don't like this or I don't like that. But really you can just distract people from that and draw the eye somewhere else. So I'm taking a little too long to spin. So I'm just going to come through here and I'm going to kind of draw. Well, I have no wipies. Bummer. I have to use these gloves because I don't have them in here. And then I'm going to come over here where this block of color is. And I'm going to do the same thing, sort of. I'm just going to come back through here. It's going to be very swirly if it ends up staying on there. That's not really intended, but we got to do something to break it up. The other thing I'm going to do is go through here and break up this weird bunch of black. And I just kind of screwed that up, but I can fix it, I think. Most likely, this will come all the way off and this will be the only thing that shows. So over here, we have kind of a big chunk where nothing really blew out. And because I'm terrible at blowing with my mouth, I'm just going to come through here and kind of just make some ribbons of color. These gloves are now being used as a wipey. Here I didn't do a great job blowing out, but I don't know that I want to sacrifice what's in here for that. So I think, if anything, I'm just going to do like the slightest little move in here. That's not true. I'm apparently going to mess it up even more. It's okay. This is okay. The lacing's a little wonky here, but I think I can deal with it. The only thing is I have all this over here and I don't have a lot over here, so I'm just gonna try to balance it out a little bit. Not that I really wanted to put that there, but I'm gonna give it a baby spin and see if we have. I really don't like what I did there. I hope that that comes off. Let's give it a baby spin. Let me move this overpriced hairdryer that I'm probably going to keep anyway. Usually if I'm going to do stuff like that, then I'm like, gosh, that's so expensive. I'll wait till like I have a gift card or something like that. Okay, I have no puppy pull out, so I have to be gentle. As you can see, that was plenty of pillow paint. I did kind of wait a little too long to spin, so my center's a little wobbly. I don't know if you can see that right there. that's kind of the danger of leaving it all right there, but I still think it's pretty. This is kind of crazy. This actually looks cool. This is growing on me. I'd like to get a little bit more of this off or get a little bit more of this in the space. So right now it kind of looks nightmarish. Maybe not. Maybe that's just my perception. But this actually doesn't bother me hardly at all now. So shows you that you can't always tell where it's going. But we do have some squiggly cells right here. I don't like those. So I want to make sure that I try to correct as much as I can now. They're not going to go away, but I don't want to get a whole bunch more by leaving all of this paint sitting there to move. So either my spinner's a little bit off kilter, which is very likely because only like in one spot where we had all that cell activator, I think that's what it is I had a lot of cell activator in that one place for a really long time. That's really the only place we have wonky cells. We have beautiful lacing right here. It's only right next to the center where we had a little trouble. Beautiful lacing right here. The center is still pretty. Also, sometimes if your paint or your cell activator is a little thin, that can happen. There's so many things that can cause that. Too much paint, too much cell activator, or paint too thin. So many things can cause your cells to move. Too much gloss in your paint. So if you are a little heavy-handed with the gloss varnish, or if your untinted base paint is a high gloss, sometimes that can cause it to happen. Not that high gloss is bad, because like Bear, for example, is high gloss and it works great. But sometimes if you have a lot of gloss in the base and a lot of gloss in your cell activator, the movement is there in the paint. It makes the paint almost slippery, for the lack of a better term. And sometimes your lines will kind of move as they settle. So there's so many things that go into this technique, guys. Don't get discouraged when that stuff happens. I still think this is super beautiful. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I don't think I have ever painted a perfect bloom. But are the colors fabulous? Yes. Do I like the composition? For the most part, absolutely. So am I going to keep the hairdryer? Yep. Probably one of the easier blowouts I've had. The more I practice with it, the easier it's going to get. This will look amazing under resin. I just love the way the colors work together. It definitely moves the paint more evenly with enough force than most of the dryers I've tried. And you know, I have my little Berta travel size hair dryer, which works pretty well, not all the time. I also sometimes use a thicker cell activator, so I kind of want to see how this does with moving like a Atelier Interactive heavy body cell activator that's got a little more body to it. So I think we have enough off of here. I'm just going to give it a gentle spin to make sure it's not just going to fly off. But sometimes having just the right amount of force and also kind of having a nice cool setting, having a small opening on a hairdryer really makes a difference. Some people can just grab whatever and make it work. I don't have those skills at this point. So I'm going to call it a win. I will say it is not a cheap hairdryer. So like I said, I waited until I had some rewards or gift cards or something. But if it makes me have more successful blooms and less things I have to scrape, to me, it's worth it. This is the only part I'm not wild about, but if I look at the whole thing, I like it. I think if I could have done that differently, I would have maybe just not gone so, there was a lot to mess with, but I probably wouldn't have gone so squiggly here. I probably would have just moved more color into that negative space. Everything in me is tempted to mess with it now, but now that we have all that color spread out, it would not work well. And I keep telling myself that so that I won't mess with it. Anyway, the colors are beautiful. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm gonna bring you down for a close-up so you can see the beautiful colors up close. And don't forget about the discount codes in the description box below. Colourarte 20% off, and using Mandy1120. That includes the Prizm pour, anything on the website. The Prizm pour is clearly beautiful. I also have pixel paint designs for Boom Gel, Australian Floetrol. There's a 15% off code. There's a KS Resin code in there. There's lots of stuff down there. So I do get a lot of questions about this M-gram acrylic paint. I get it on Blick, and there is a link for Blick below. Just be careful if you order it. They have a gouache, but this is the acrylic paint. I haven't tried the gouache as a cell activator, so I would hate for you to get the wrong one. Okay, let me bring you down. All right, everybody, so here is our close-up. I think the colors turned out fantastic together. I love this part right here where the Fandango kind of outlines the blue velvet in those cells. This is the part I didn't care for, and now it doesn't really bother me at all. I love this like tiny little lacing you get as it stretches out. I love this part right here. This part doesn't bother me where we embellished it. I really love these beautiful cells. Here's the center. Some parts of the center are perfect and some parts are a little squiggly, but I'm okay with that. It's really my own fault. I left it sitting there too long. You really shouldn't leave it there forever because all that cell activator in that pool can cause your cells to move. And I knew that. I was just taking my time. I love these. This is one of my favorite things about Matisse paint. You see that beautiful little outline? Matisse paints do that wonderfully right next to the cell activator. Really, really nicely. There's this really cool blue bubble that came through. It's like a little cell. This is the part I'm not crazy about, but if I look at the whole picture of the bloom, it doesn't bother me. And it's sort of symmetrical with this movement on the other side. I almost touched that. So I'm okay with it. So let me know what you think. Did you like these colors together? What did you think of the little Babyliss hair dryer? I got it on Amazon, and I will try my hardest to link something in the description box in case you guys want to take a look at it. I've been eyeballing it for about 6 months, and I was just like, man, I already have so many hair dryers. What if it does the same thing? But I honestly think the results are pretty worth it. I'm not going to say it's like a magical hair dryer, but for me, if I don't have to fuss with my blowouts as much, it will encourage me to take more risks with them. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Be safe. And let me know what you think. If you're new, I would love for you to subscribe so you don't miss any notifications. Not every day is a masterpiece, but we certainly have fun. And thank you so much to everyone who continues to watch and support this channel. I appreciate you guys so much. Anyway, take care, everyone.